What's going on, Savage here? I hope that you're having a good day, and I hope that you're getting a lot of wins using the tips and tricks that we've been covering in this video series. The comment section has been absolutely overwhelming with people telling me that their KD's increased, they've been getting more wins, and they're just basically having more fun. So guys, thank you for the positive vibes. But if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to leave a like on the video. Let's get this video to 700 likes, and make sure you join our Discord community. We have over 3,000 people, and everyone is utilizing the LFG pages and finding some really good teammates. So please join us over there if you guys want to play with some other competent players. But in this video, we will be breaking down some viewer submitted gameplay. This is a solos match. It's a pretty intense match. A really good gameplay, and I believe there's a lot of lessons to be learned in this video. Whether you're new or intermediate, I believe that everybody can take something from this video. So without further ado, let's go ahead and dive into it. All right, here we are spectating my dude Nika, and he will be going train station. I actually really enjoy going train station. I think train station, boneyard, superstore, and airfield are probably my favorite places to actually land at. That rotation pattern is just amazing, and they're all considered hot drops, so you guys can go there, land, get a bunch of kills off the rip, and then rotate out and pick up some other kills and maybe third party some other enemies as well. All right, so this early in the game, what you need to be focused on is honestly just grabbing a gun or two that you can utilize in close range and long range. That way you can go ahead and push an enemy and fight. Don't worry about getting a bunch of ammo. Don't worry about getting money. Don't worry about getting plates. If you're landing somewhere hot where there's a lot of people, go ahead and take out as many people as you can before they end up killing each other. At the end of the day, if you guys want to increase your kill count, you got to play a little bit more aggressively. So start pushing people right after you grab a gun. When I landed the hot drop, as soon as I pick up or find a close range weapon, being an Uzi, an MP7, an MP5, something like an AUG, something that you can utilize close range, mid range, I will instantly start pushing the targets. I won't worry about anything else. A lot of you guys that play this game are probably better than you think you are, or at least better than the game stats are showing you are. And what I mean by that is a lot of people are like, Savage, I haven't been able to drop more than 10 kills, or Savage, I haven't been able to drop more than 20 kills. And mostly the reason being is because you're just wasting a little bit time early game. For instance, this is a hot drop, and there are at least 6 people here that we know of, and there's a bounty on the radar as well. And here we are looting slowly, just getting a few things here and there, instead of just pushing out and finding fights. Again, this is early game. This is the time more than anything you need to practice being aggressive, because guess what? If you die, you get to come right back and start another match. So there's no harm in just pushing and being aggressive, and then if you die, just restarting the game. The reason all your favorite YouTubers are always posting high kill gameplays is because they play this game 8 hours a day every day. So within that 8-hour span, they may get 1 or 2 20 or 30 kill games, but the rest of them are usually just low kill, 5 kills, 10 kills, something like that. And it's because they're hot dropping. If they die, they just start it up and get the next one. And then the more games you play, of course, the greater chance you have of dropping a 20 bomb. Just hot drop, play aggressive, push everybody you see, and get the kills. Now this right here, I don't mind him pushing closer to the enemy if he lacks his gunplay. That gun can definitely do damage at the range he was at. I would have put shots on the enemy way sooner than that, but he didn't trust his gunplay with the Uzi, and he decided to try to push closer to the enemy. That was a very dangerous challenge. You had 8 bullets left in your magazine, and you went ahead and face checked him. Thankfully, you had done an exact amount of damage for those 8 bullets to actually finish him off. And here we are with another enemy over here. There's nothing wrong with playing a little slow and passive, but I would definitely be moving relatively quickly. Basically, in this situation, the enemy knows you're there. The enemy that's around us, we don't know where he's at, but he probably knows where you're at because he saw you shooting. He's probably in a better position. So you need to be moving around and trying to find him. Basically, if I'm ever looking for an enemy, I'll just do a little circle around the area real quick, just for a hot second. If I don't see him, then I know he's dipped off, which this guy probably has. And then I'll make my way on to the next objective. All right, here we are in a position where we have an enemy in front of us to the north, right? So in this position right here, we have all of these boxes around us. We have all these crates around us, right? And the enemy's over here. He's crossing the street and pushing towards us. At this point, the best option is to get elevation. You can get elevation. You can get an angle on this dude who's, by the way, out in the open. If you look at the mini map, there's nothing over there but a tree, and then they have a tower. And you can get an easy kill. So basically, you can vault up on the box in front of you, vault up on the next box, and challenge this guy. Don't ever be afraid to put yourself out there just a little bit if you have so much cover. If you vault up on the box and he does shoot you and does a lot of damage to you, you can just hop off, play it up again, and then challenge him again. But that would definitely be the better option, because in this position right here, you only have a few inches of view, right? You can only see a little bit. You got a lot of crap blocking you, which gives the enemy an opportunity to flank you from his right side and your left. Also, if there's ever an enemy in the open like this guy right here, you want to take advantage of that. Granted, if this guy was in a building and near a lot of cover, the fight would be completely different, but he's out in the open. He's only got a few trees. It may be a little bitty tower that he can actually hide behind. So getting the high ground, getting the advantage would just be an easy way to kill this guy. All right, so we bail from the fight and we're back to looting. I honestly don't like ever bailing from a fight unless you're in a bad position or the enemy is just honestly a laser. You don't want to bail from a fight just because you don't know where the enemy is at. One, you didn't really look too hard for that enemy. All right, so you have an enemy in front of us, the 168. He has no idea you're there. That was just easy. He didn't even turn around. He didn't even turn around. All right, another lesson, guys. I want you to notice how he's not really confident in his Uzi play, and I don't blame him either, honestly. I hate the Uzi. But because he's not confident in his Uzi play, he puts himself closer to the enemy before he shoots at the enemy. A lot of times I'll be spectating someone and they'll just take shots to the Uzi at a guy who's, 200-300 feet away. And all that does is let the enemy know where you're at, piss him off, and then he turns around and kills you. I like the fact that he's pushing himself closer to the target before he reveals his position. That way he can get the surprise element, the drop on the enemy, and get the kill. Guys, there's no shame in trying to get yourself closer to the target if you're not accurate with your gunplay. You really have to sit down, analyze your own gameplay, ask yourself, can I kill him with this gun? And I need you to answer yourself honestly. And if not, put yourself closer to the enemy before you start fighting. All right, love it. Pulled up his map, saw the guy on UAV, and marked the objective. Now he's going to grab his class and hopefully make his way over there and kill this guy. I believe this is the same guy we were fighting earlier when I was recommending getting the high ground. So hopefully we can finally kill this man. Pick up that dead silence. Dead silences are a must, man. If you're pushing an enemy, no matter where he's at, dead silences are an absolute must. Also, just because the UAV went away doesn't mean you need to be afraid to push them. Okay, just come back for plates. Never mind. But remember, just because UAV goes away doesn't mean you can just bail from this fight. You know the enemy's over here. All you have to do is look for them. Yes, I know there's building campers. Yes, I know people just freeze up and don't do anything. I get that. But guys, again, it's early game. You haven't even been in the game for 5 minutes. So wouldn't you rather try to push as many people as you can and die and reset than waste 20 minutes, get to end game with only a handful of kills and then die? I always believe the #1 objective in battle royales is to win. Don't really care about how many kills you have. Winning is the overall goal. However, you definitely want to practice gunfights. You definitely want to practice gunplay. That way, when you get to an in-game situation, you can handle your own. All right, I also want you guys to notice his movement. A lot of people have a misconception in their head that whenever they think they're getting close to the enemy, they'll start crouch walking to hide their footsteps. The problem is when y'all are doing this, you're not doing it consistently. And what I mean by that is basically you guys are running and then you stop and crouch walk and heartbeat, and you crouch walk a little bit and then you get up and you sprint and then you stop and then you crouch and you heartbeat. Every time you get up and you run, that lets the enemy know you're there. So if you've already made noise by the enemy, just keep on making noise because he's probably heard you and he probably knows where you're at. Also, I highly recommend never really crouching. If you're pushing a building, yes, you want to crouch around. But if you're out in the open, I definitely wouldn't recommend crouch walking because, again, the likelihood of another enemy knowing you're there is very, very high. If you ever watch my gameplay, you'll just notice I'm a cracked out kid. Just slide canceling, B-hopping everywhere. I never stop moving. Even when I'm pushing buildings, I usually tend to push them pretty quickly. And yes, being aggressive will get you kills more times than you would like. For sure. For sure. But again, it takes practice. It takes practice to get better at it. And no one's ever going to be 100% efficient. So just because being aggressive doesn't work for the first day or the first 2 days doesn't mean it's not the better option. Once you guys have practiced being more aggressive and getting more kills. Now, I will say, we've been at train station a little too long, in my opinion. We also have $5,400 we could utilize to buy another UAV. And there's no one on heartbeat over here. So I would go ahead and start making my way to the next zone. So I also noticed that when the new circle got identified, he didn't pull up his map to even see where the circle was. So in my head, that lets me know that he's got no game plan. He's just looking for enemies to kill, which is fine. Again, I'm not hating, but whenever the next zone gets identified, at least glance at it. That way you can start thinking about your rotations, about where you want to go, about what's safer, what's going to be better in kills, whatever way you want to play, you want to go ahead and get that game plan in your head. All right, MP7's nasty with range, man. I prefer the MP5 in close range fights, but if I'm sniping and I want a good SMG that has some decent mid-range combat, the MP7 is the one to go to. If you're ever running a sniper, guys, I highly recommend the MP7 be your secondary. MP5 is just as nutty, but again, MP7's extra range just gives it a little oomph to it that you're going to need if you're not really hitting all your shots with snipers, or if you get pushed by multiple enemies while rocking a sniper and you need something that can shoot quickly and efficiently, the MP7's your go-to. Also, guys, I want y'all to make sure you're grabbing Ghost. You want to have your Ghost class on, especially in solos, because, well, Ghost really runs rampant in solos. Duos, trios, and quads, for whatever reason, again, not many people are on Ghost, whether they're coming back from the gulag, whether they just don't care about it, whether they just don't know about it. Make sure you're running Ghost class. That way nobody can identify you on radar. That's how we hunt. That's how most gamers hunt in this game, is chasing down people who aren't utilizing Ghosts. As you can see here, he's using his map, he's using the UAV, he knows there's an enemy here, and now he's going to push him in a vehicle and in this kid's life. This may be an easy splat right here, boys. Oh! All right, I love the fact that he pulled up on the enemy and he jumped out the vehicle and then turned around and shot him. A lot of people, believe it or not, will stop their vehicle, get out, and then start shooting. If you take the time to actually apply the brakes in the vehicle, you're going to get shot out of the vehicle. So I love the fact he just jumped out, put shots on the enemy, and got the quick kill. All right, but here we are, $4,400, and making our way around the edge of the map, trying to find another enemy. Now, there's gunfight in front of him. He went ahead and pulled up his map and marked it up. Beautiful, man, beautiful. If they're not using suppressed weapon, it's basically a free UAV mark to go ahead and push that guy and get the kill. You may end up in a 1v2 as well if you can kill him fast enough, and that's an extra kill. Ooh, get wrecked. And that's an extra kill. Now, said missile lock on, but you got to remember you have the trophy system, so you're good to go. Don't worry about that. I still think there may be another enemy here, just because that enemy was running up to the hill, and we had already marked an enemy that was on the hill. So there may be another one here. Not to mention, he was shooting at somebody, right? I would have kept looking. I at least would have checked the hill a little bit more before I pulled away. But this is fine too. Just go ahead and get aggressive, get some kills. Now you're gonna have to drive through downtown, but that shouldn't be a problem with the trophy system on you. All right, I think right now he's just playing the edge of the map, watching for enemies, which I definitely don't disagree with. I would probably go ahead and get position. The last thing you want to do is get in a position where someone like takes your car down and you're having to get safe and you're in the gas, something like this. Oh no. Basically, don't risk it, right? Don't risk playing the edge of the circle and getting killed, because if he was to get shot right now, he wouldn't stand a chance. He's half plates and he was just half health. All right, but now we're going for a bounty, and this compound's usually pretty busy, especially when it's on the edge. Don't ever go to compounds blind, right? You want to be looking at the windows as you pull up. You want to be looking at the doorways as you pull up. You want to kind of identify in your head, is this place looted? Which buildings doors are open? Which buildings windows are broken? And then make your decision based off that. Now here we are playing chicken with another vehicle. I'm not really sure what the play is here. If you see another vehicle in solos, guys, there's no reason to kind of chase it down like this, unless you're going to switch seats and throw some C4 at it. Just go ahead and call it a quits and get this bounty. We've been driving around this compound for about 2 minutes now, and we haven't even picked up the bounty, and he's bailing away from it. This guy's deaf. Okay, guys, make sure you have your sound on. Make sure you have your volume up. Apparently not everybody does. Again, we pass up another satchel. You want to quickly analyze what loot is on the ground. All right, yeah. If you're in a vehicle, guys, don't sit in the middle of the compound. All right, so he's got a double kill, which is awesome, right? But he still would have picked up. But I still would have picked up the bounty. That way we could have a free location, right? He legitimately called in the UAV at the perfect time, because this guy was about to find where he was at and shoot him in the face. Now there is an enemy UAV that's above you. It just got called in. Go ahead and call yours in. It'll probably identify him too, unless he has ghosts. Now there are 7 targets on the mini map. Pull up your big map real quick, and let's talk about rotations. Let's talk about how we would navigate the circle. The zone is closing in 18 seconds. So these 2 guys are going to be forced out, right? I really wouldn't worry about these guys. By the time you get there, there's only be 1 target left. The guy at stadium, let him go. It's too wide open to push in a stadium. Plus, stadium won't be safe for long. So I would go ahead and avoid downtown a stadium at this point. The circle is going to rotate farmland. So these 2 guys would be my focus. I would focus on trying to gatekeep these guys. All right, so the play right here is just go ahead and push these guys. Honestly, you have 18 seconds before the circle starts to close in. And the circle is going to move slow. So even if you're out of bounds, so even if you're out of the next zone, and you're getting in fights, you'll most likely be able to run back in because it's such a slow moving circle. You're on the slower edge of the circle, so you don't have to worry about the circle forcing you out and getting you killed. Also, you want to try to get both of these kills before they kill each other. Granted, they're way closer to each other than you are to them, and they're both in the same compound, so one of them's probably going to die. But if they don't, go ahead and get both of the kills. Once you get those kills, then you can rotate to this area and try to fight these guys off. The only thing I would be careful of right now, though, is when you push this compound, that you be very careful of how you play this hill. When you push the hill, you want to play the edge of the hill, and you want to rotate up. You don't want to sit out in the open and try to ADS on the edge of the hill and get some shots off on the enemies. You want to push the hill, get close to it. That way, when the enemy goes to the edge, he has to look directly down to see you, which usually they don't. Usually they just scan in the open. And then you can push up efficiently and hit the enemy by surprise. All right, so we went ahead and bought another UAV and a self-res. Again, I'm not a fan of self-reses early game, but this isn't early game. We're technically mid-game right now, so I definitely agree with the self-reses. The reason I will never waste money early game on a self-res is because, again, it's early game. If you die, guess what? You get to restart and try again. I would go ahead and get UAVs early game, focus on UAVs early game, and get as many kills as possible. That way you can kind of start developing a good game. All right, I'm not really sure what happened here. He drove up the hill and then he dove off. I don't mind you taking the vehicle of the enemy, but you could hop out of the vehicle on the edge of the wall and just wait for them. That's just rude. Well, no analyzation there. He saw the guy at the crate, threw 2 C4, got a crack, and then shot him with an RPG. It's pretty self-explanatory. Oh shit, is he stuck? This game, boy. Ooh, this game. Now remember, there may be one more person here and you're at the bottom of the hill. Be very careful. I'd go ahead and grab the loot and I would just scan the top. I would go to the top of this hill real quick using that little path he was just on, and I would at least look to see if the other enemy's here, because you could possibly get a second gatekeep. I haven't heard any gunfire other than you and that guy who were just shooting at each other, which leads me to believe that the other target's still alive. So you may have potentially just left. Looks like you're going back. You may have potentially just left a free kill, but let's see. You might run into him here. I'm pretty sure he's still alive. Again, I didn't hear any gunfight before you pushed that guy and got the kill. So I would imagine there's another enemy close. All right, so right now you're just kind of spinning in a circle waiting for an enemy to pop out. The chance of an enemy just jumping out and revealing his position when there's a car in front of him is very slim to shit. So I would drive to the edge of the circle, kind of look around. If you don't see anybody, I'll then make my way to the buy station and hopefully kill those 1, 2, or 3 players that are sitting over there. Even if you have a trophy system on your vehicle too, guys, you got to be very careful driving slow. I'd recommend never driving slow, dudes. Just full balls to the wall, press that pedal in, and then jump out when you see an enemy. Also, if you get a missile lock with a trophy system, guys, I would just bait the shit out of it, find out where the missile's coming from, and then push them. All right, there he is right there. Just instantly drive to him, jump out, and get the shots off on the enemy. I love that too. If you guys notice, he drove the vehicle on the right side of the tree, and right before the vehicle crossed the tree, he jumped out on the left side, which confused the enemy. The enemy followed the vehicle with his crosshair and had no idea that he jumped out and ultimately got killed because of it. Now, this is something I've been seeing a lot and I really want to touch on. You have a UAV. You don't need a heartbeat. You know exactly where they're at. So the moment you took to go crouch and just sit there and wait for the scan, waste of time, right? The enemies know you're here. They just heard your vehicle and they just heard you shoot. There's also 2 enemies very close to each other. You want to knock them out faster than they can kill each other. Again, don't allow the enemies to have enough time to kill each other if you want both those kills. So I would instantly start pushing up. I wouldn't be crouch walking, but do anything. You know exactly where they're at. You have the advantage. Push up and get the shots off. Trust your judgment, trust your gunplay, and trust that it's going to happen. Now, instead of getting for the execute, I would go for this next guy that's sitting right below you, I think in a bush. You don't need a heartbeat. Again, you have the radar. Just line up your arrow with the radar. Again, you don't need the heartbeat. I know I'm talking to you like you can actually hear me right now. He's right there. All you got to do is look. That's what the radar's for, guys. That's what the UAV's for. If you have a UAV up, you don't need your heartbeat. All right, so I'm not against this fight right here. He's going to mark the target. He's going to push him. Now, this is the center of the circle, so you got to be very fast and very careful. Go ahead, push the target, jump out the vehicle, just like he did last time. The enemy got confused and followed his crosshairs with the vehicle as well. This is something that happens all the time, guys. They'll always focus on the vehicle instead of focusing on where the enemy's jumping out at. If you're in the enemy's position, guys, keep your eyes locked on the driver, not the vehicle. That way you can see if the driver jumps out or not. Too many times people just focus on the big picture instead of the minute details. The minute detail being the actual player with the gun. Also, if you're in our boy Nika's position, make sure you get this kill, you get back in the vehicle and get out fast, because again, you're in the center of the circle. You're very vulnerable from all edges, especially with the very little cover you have. He's already getting shot at from across, and hopefully he dips out of here. Beautiful. So I would go ahead and plate up, buy my UAVs, buy a spare UAV, and make my plays off of that. Now, you do have a guy that's down in front of you, right below stadium. You can push him if you want. So there's 21 enemies left, and you got to play this real careful. Now, this is a position where it's all decision making. Do you want to push over here to the edge of the circle and fight the guys at stadium? There's 2 on UAV at stadium, but there's probably 5 or 6. I would imagine a lot of these people have ghosts sitting on rooftops, sitting in the garage beneath, sitting in stadium itself, and of course, the guy that's closest to us right now, sitting on the outskirts. You could take the vehicle, push the guy on the outskirts, which is what I would do, and then bail out and hopefully get a better position somewhere else. The guy on the outskirts will be an easy kill, but I definitely wouldn't push in the stadium because of the wasted time. The fact that someone can take your vehicle and then you're stuck on foot having to cross out in this open ass field, which would be the worst case scenario. Now, there's a small chance the circle does rotate back towards our area on the left side of the ravine. But even if that happened, I still don't think this is the better place to play. If you are going to stay on this side of the ravine, you want to stay up here on the high ground, because again, you're at the high ground and nobody can really push you without you hearing them or seeing them. All right, so we can get the vehicle. We're going to make the same play. Went ahead and marked on the map, and now we're going to make our way over there. Again, you have them on UAV. Make sure you're just looking at the UAV while you drive. You just saw him. There you go. There you go. Woo! A little close for comfort right there. A little close for comfort. I would definitely use the vehicle for some kind of cover. Walk through the vehicle or something like that. There's another enemy. These guys have no idea what the hell's happening in life. Oh shit. That poor bastard. All right, so let's talk about the rotation now, right? So the next circle's coming in and we don't really know where it's going to go. And the reason why I say that is you don't have a trophy system anymore. Once your trophy system busted, I would play the area that I know is safe, right? We know there's one more guy over here by stadium. Even though we splatted the last guy, there was one more player within the fence line that we didn't shoot at or kill, right? So we know there's one guy over here. But this area should be relatively safe for your vehicle for you not to get C4 thrown at, right? So I would definitely play this side until we found out where the next circle went in 7 seconds. So just drive around here for 7 seconds, basically make your way back to the hill. Once the next circle identifies, at that point, that's when you want to come up with the next game plan. Instead of driving into farmland blind with no idea what's going on, no UAV in the air, and having no idea where the next circle is going to be, and having no trophy system is a very bad juju, because you're going to have to run into C4, rocket launchers. If you get in a fight, you're probably going to have to bail from your vehicle and fight somebody who's most likely camping in a window. So again, I wouldn't go here this early. If you would have rotated this way minutes ago, that's completely different. But because the circle's rotating in legitimately 7 seconds, you want to go ahead and just hold off, be patient, wait for the next circle to come through before you make your play. He just said, I don't know where I want to go. And again, if you just hold off a second, wait for the circle to rotate, then you can make your position. Now, I was wrong, right? I was wrong. The circle did rotate on the left side of the ravine, and also did rotate towards the high ground, the hill that had mentioned he'd go to earlier. Now, again, you don't have a trophy system. Driving your vehicle in a clustered area like this with no trophy system is a huge no-no. I do not prefer this at all. All right, we do have an enemy in front of us at this house. I do recommend, if you want to go ahead and utilize your UAV a little bit more efficiently, I like the fact that you're marking the targets. I love it. But there's another target that's relatively close to. We can memorize this building. We can just put in our head that there's an enemy in this building, make a mental note of it, and mark the other player. Because you're going to get in a fight with this guy in the next 30 seconds, there's really no need to mark him. I would mark another target, so basically bouncing from spot to spot. All right, you spotted him right there. I don't know what your other weapon is. I've seen you use the MP7 a lot. I honestly don't think I've seen you use your other gun at all. All right, you want to have the right gun for the right fight. Right now, we're having to get closer to him to get some shots on him with the MP7. So now you're having to chase this enemy to get close to him and get some shots off on him. And then because you're closer to the next enemy, there's a greater chance you're going to get third party. So basically, if you would have shot the enemy back there when he was in the open, when you were further back, this guy that's camping the building may not have heard that gunfire, and then he wouldn't really be there to third party you. But because you're shooting at this enemy so close to other enemies, the chance of getting third party is... Again, the range and the damage of the MP7 isn't bad, but you're really handicapping yourself not using an assault rifle. And again, I'm not going to lie, I don't really remember what your secondary was. I'm not sure why you're only using the MP7, but you're also almost out of ammo now. Because it takes so many bullets to kill somebody at so much range, you're running out of ammo relatively quick. Now, because you're in a compound, which is one of the last compounds on the map, because you're here, it's probably already going to be looted. So you're really going to have to rely on your last 30 bullets to get a kill and hopefully get some ammunition from it. Now, this compound right here is out of bounds. So if you push up there, you could potentially gatekeep anyone coming out of there. There were 3 targets on the map that were sitting in that building. So that could have been 3 potential kills, not to mention the guy you had chased in there in the first place. This is the part that I really want to focus on in my videos. I really want you guys to start paying attention to in-game and how you should play the circles. A lot of times people will see the next circle and they'll just dive to it. They'll be like, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and grab this building because it's safe and I'm going to gatekeep everybody coming out. The problem with that is if you push in too early, guess what? Someone else is already going to be there. We already know 4 people are there, right? Because a couple minutes ago when we were talking about this map, there were 4 people on UAV in this compound. So if you push this area too fast, you run the risk of getting in a fight with someone camping the window and also people on the edge. So if you fight this guy too early and you get shot from behind, guess what? It is what it is. Don't put yourself in a position to trap yourself between 2 enemies and get third-partied. So in this position, this is when I slow down my gameplay. I play the edge and I work my way in from the edge to the next zone. That way I'm clearing buildings as I'm getting closer. That way I know that when I'm moving up, nobody can be behind me. Nobody can be to my sides because I've already cleared this area. Now, this late in the game, also don't grab bounties or any objectives. All it's going to do is give you money. And again, this late in the game, money is useless. Basically, your money situation is done for. Your objectives situation is done for. Just go ahead and utilize everything you have in your inventory right now to get the win. All right, I like the fact that you're clearing the edge. You're taking your time. Again, you can speed up your movement a little bit. I would be slide canceling. Again, I don't ever recommend crouch walking or crouching in general because you're just such an easy target for a headshot. If there wasn't anybody on that rooftop, you would have already been headshotted and dead. If there's anybody in the windows above you, same situation. So there's nothing around with running around and just making some noise. Because when you shoot at a target, you're making noise anyway, right? Now, let's talk about this. Let's just All right, now, what I don't like about crouching is look how vulnerable you are. And let's take this step by step. You have the windows right here. If there was an enemy in there, you're sitting duck. You're legitimately just sitting. You're sitting duck. If there's anyone on the backside of these buildings that just looks this way, same situation. Now, as we turn, you have 1, 2, 3 windows staring with a straight line of sight on you. You also have a building back here where somebody can be sitting at, and you have the window to your right where somebody can also be sitting at. So you put yourself in a position when you're like this to get shot from, to my knowledge, 10 different angles. You want to always make sure if you're going to stop and do anything, if you're going to stop and look at your map, if you're going to stop and heartbeat sensor, that you're out of everyone's line of sight. Like right now, we're stopping, we're using the heartbeat sensor, and again, everything to our left side can shoot us, and the guy in the window up here can shoot us. Granted, there's probably not anybody in there, but you always want to play like there is, and that's because that's how you die most of the time, is you get complacent. You don't think anyone's there, and guess what? They are. So stop putting yourselves in situations where you're crouch walking, you're putting yourself vulnerable from multiple angles, and you're playing slow. That's why I always recommend speeding up your movement and not crouching. Because if you do get shot at, your movement speed's so fast that they would have to be extremely accurate to get the kills. Now, there's 2 people in this building fighting. Guess what that means? That means there's going to be rotations. That means there's going to be kills. That means there's going to be damaged enemies, right? And basically what I mean by that is watch the windows, watch the doorways for an enemy rotating out to try to change his position to win the fight in there. That way you can catch him in the open. So when he jumps out the window, jumps out the doorway, you can just go ahead and shoot him. Also, I would push into this building as well. That way, if they do finish the fight, which they probably will, you can go up there and kill the guy who's damaged from the fight. Take advantage of the fact that he was just fighting an enemy. Utilize that knowledge to push in there and get the easy kill. Also, guys, when you push buildings, a lot of people are like, Savage, please make a video on pushing buildings. And it's just, again, buildings is very situational based and based off of what kind of players camp in that bitch. But if you want to get more aggressive in pushing buildings, utilize your stuns. You have to utilize stuns in order to push into buildings. Building clearing so much easier when you have stun grenades. Heartbeat sensors aren't really gonna do much for you. All right, so it's a pretty small circle. I would imagine that nobody's going to be on heartbeat sensor. You can check it from time to time, but I would definitely imagine no one's on heartbeat. Now, I don't like this at all, man. We know there's a guy in the building to your left. I'm sorry, left's over here for you guys watching, right? I know there's a guy to our left in this building where the bounty's at. How do I know that? Because we were just talking about that building. We were just talking about pushing in. The guy just won a fight in there, right? So we know there's a guy there. Here we are in the middle of the open, no cover behind us, completely visible line of sight from that building. So you got to be very careful how you play the situation. If you want a heartbeat, that's fine. Get to this side of the wall and protect your back. So I definitely don't like this at all. This gives me anxiety. All right, we have an enemy on heartbeat, and someone just died, and the enemy is still there. So oh, that's perfect timing. All right, good. I was just about to say, before you shoot at the enemy, make sure you know where everyone's at. Make sure you're aware of where all the enemies are at before you get into a last-minute gunfight. If you're losing the game with 10, 12, 20 kills and you just, for some reason, can't finish off the games, if you can't finish the fight, you're making top 5 all the time and you're not able to get first place, this is why, right? If he would have shot at the enemy, this guy hiding in front of him would have popped up and his 17-kill game would be completely wasted. So I like the fact that he didn't take the shots. He took his time to figure out the situation, and now he knows there's a player here. So we know where one player is. We know where 2 player is. I think the other guy died, so that means 1 is missing. All right, get the kill. Get it fast. Grab some ammo. You need ammo. Just go. Don't think about nothing. Don't collect 200. Don't even reload. You're in the open right now. You don't want to reload, and he just shot you. So because you're in the open, you don't want to reload. Reloading slows your movement speed, and we already knew the guy was over there. We already knew he had line of sight on you. We already knew he was going to shoot at you because you just killed the second to last person. It's now 1v1. He knows where you're at. You know where he's at. You got to make the fight even, right? You have the best position right now. You are in the zone. You have a nice little tower right here blocking you. Run your way to the tower, then pop the reload. There's no way he'll be able to push you from this distance, from edge of the circle to edge of the circle, before you can pop the reload. There's just no way. So I would just sit here, reload my gun, play it up, make sure I'm good to go. The circle's moving your direction. You have cover. You have the edge of the zone that's in the favor. This man's got to push out in the open to get the kill on you. Utilize what you have to your advantage. Now, because the circle is rotating back to the ravine, be very careful when you're sitting here and plating up and doing stuff that you don't allow this man to go down in the ravine and then use the ravine to his advantage to pop up and head glitch you and get some shots off. Because if I was the enemy in this position, I'd rotate to the ravine. The ravine's better cover. He can get some shots on you before you can get to the ravine. He could actually win this fight relatively easy. You have the favor, but if you play it wrong, he could win the game. Now we know he's in the house. There's no reason to peek it, right? There's no reason to peek it. Wait for the timer. Use the time to your advantage. When this timer hits 0 and this circle starts moving, he's going to jump out. And when he jumps out, that's when he's an easy, vulnerable kill. So don't allow him to put damage on you and break your plates and keep forcing you back here to pop your plates. Because if you peek again and he shoots you and breaks your armor and the circle starts moving, he now has time to push you because you're so busy replating behind cover and you're not going to see which way the enemy goes. All right, the enemy's moving out. You just saw him jump out the window. Utilize this information to your advantage. RPGs, I really would not recommend ever using RPGs. Now, the circle's coming in. We've lost visual of the enemy. He's utilizing his gas mask to change his line of approach, which is very, very smart. Let's see which way he pushes. Oh, shit. He died. Okay, I gave the enemy a little too much credit. I thought he had a gas mask. He was going to push him from the left side, which is what I would have done. He did not. He just sat in the gas and died. Guys, if you're in the enemy's position and you just think you're going to die, you already made it to end game. You already busted your ass to make it to the last 1v1 fight. And that, you have to try. You have to try. Don't just be like, I'm not letting the enemy get the kill and then die on purpose. That's just stupid. Nika, thank you again for submitting your gameplay, brother. Had a pleasure breaking it down. So thank you so much for submitting it to our Discord. Now, there were a lot of things that I could say about your gameplay. I don't know why you're using a rocket launcher, an MP7. Again, not everyone wants to try hard in this game. So if you're just trying to have fun with that loadout, that's fine. That's fine. Just keep using it. But I definitely recommend AR, SMG combo for sure. Don't riot shield unless you're trying to have fun. Don't RPG unless you're trying to do it for fun, but definitely utilize some kind of long range weapon. If you would have run into anybody that was a really good shot with an AR and you were in a bad position, you would have no way to outplay the enemy or put shots on them at range. You definitely handicapped yourself for long range combat, but you ended up getting the win. You ended up getting 18 kills. So you did really well, and congratulations on your solo dub, brother. But guys, if you learned anything in this video, if you can relate to any of the mistakes that I had pointed out, make sure you let me know what they were in the comment section below. Very curious to see on what kind of tips you guys are getting from these videos. But again, if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. Also leave a like on the video. Let's get this video to 700 likes and join our Discord if you want to find some good teammates. But until next time, guys, y'all have a good one and good luck in Warzone. Thank you guys for watching. If you want to check out some other of my favorite tips and tricks videos, make sure you click the 2 links next to me. And as always, subscribe by hitting the button below. Y'all have a good one and keep on improving.